Hi, everybody, and welcome back to LL Sports TV. Hope you're all doing well. Well, tonight was a night was so full of optimism and expectation. In the end, has ended in a quite chastening and disappointing night. I spent the night at the Box Park with the guys at AFTV. We did a watch along for the Champions League first leg semi-final, Arsenal versus PSG. We went into this game full of hope, especially off the back of that exciting and tremendous win over Real Madrid. We were brilliant that night. Unfortunately, it wasn't the case tonight. Sport has a habit of bringing you back down to earth with a bump, and that was the case tonight. Arsenal were beaten 1-0, and I've got to be honest, it could have been more. So maybe I should just take the 1-0 and just chill. But I've got to say it was disappointing. PSG, you got to give them credit though. Excellent team. I did say in some of the content that I'd produced on the channel for LL Sports TV and indeed for AFTV, I said that I thought that PSG would be a sterner test for Arsenal than Real Madrid, and they did live up to that prediction. Absolutely, they did. I mean, the game started, and straight away PSG were out the traps quick. They surprised Arsenal. They came at us. They pressed high. And when they won the ball back, they were very good in possession. And I've got to be honest, man, they had us on the back foot right from the start. They scored after 4 minutes. Excellent goal. Dembele, who's in the form of his life right now, he's on fire. He's got 30-odd goals already this season. And he put the ball away with aplomb. I've got to say, we were a bit sloppy in terms of the marking. Don't like to call players out, but I think Declan Rice could have done a bit better there. In fact, he seemed to acknowledge himself when you saw the replay of the goal. You could see him having a word with himself. He was disappointed with his positioning. PSG took the lead and never really looked back, especially in that first 30 minutes. They were excellent. In fact, it's very rare that you see a team come to the Emirates and play the way they did against Arsenal. They outclassed us in that first 30 minutes. I've got no problem in saying that because it's the truth. They were clearly the better side. To give Arsenal some credit, they did come more into it in the latter half of the first half, mainly by hustle and bustle, by working hard. Got to give them some credit. They didn't spew it. They tried to get back into the game, which gave us some reasonable expectation for the second half. We're thinking, right, okay, get that first 30 minutes out of the way. Maybe we can look forward to now Arsenal pressing and trying to impose and stamp themselves on the game. Got to say, it didn't quite happen. We had a couple of chances, notably through Trossard and Martinelli, but Donnarumma was more than equal to him. He had a really good game, by the way, the PSG goalkeeper, really good. And PSG had chances themselves. I mean, I've got to be honest, they had a couple of really good chances. They hit the post, they hit the bar. If I'm going to be honest, I could say that they could have won by more than one goal. So maybe we were quite fortunate it was only one, to be honest. Very disappointing night, very chastening night. PSG more than deserved their win. They're a very good team, as not just myself, but many people had said before that they're a very good team. And they showed that tonight. With regards to our guys, got to say there was some disappointments out there tonight. I mean, let's start with the positives. I thought David Raya had a good game. The goalkeeper, I thought he was good. I thought that Saliba and Kivior, their partnership continues to bear fruit. They look pretty solid. They look pretty good. I thought Miles Lewis-Skelly was one of Arsenal's better players tonight. I thought he was pretty good all night. Jurriën Timber had his problems in the first half. In the second half, he did a lot better. But in the first half, he got a bit of a warm time. And it's not often you say that about Jurriën Timber. So I think that tells you how good PSG were, because they definitely had Timber on the back foot in the first 35 minutes of that first half. Moving into midfield, Declan Rice playing in that new position. Well, when I say new position, he's playing in the number 6. That position was vacated because Thomas Partey, unfortunately, stupidly got himself booked against Real Madrid. And we did say he would be a big miss, and so it proved tonight. Partey was definitely missed tonight. Declan Rice had to fill in for that 6. I mean, Declan Rice was another one. He didn't have the greatest of first halves, but I thought by the time the second half came around, He was one of Arsenal's better players. Provided a couple of those marauding runs, which he's famous for. One of them, which almost led to a Leandro Trossard goal. So yeah, Declan Rice, I thought he did well. Unfortunately, I can't say the same for Mikel Merino. Didn't really impose himself on the game. Didn't seem to have the legs to cope with the PSG midfielders. Wasn't one of his better nights, unfortunately for him. Martin Odegaard continues to be a conundrum because Martin Odegaard tonight was simply not at the races. And it's very disappointing for me to have to say that. I mean, listen, I'm on the record as a Martin Odegaard admirer. When he's fit and playing well, he's one of our best players. He's one of our talisman. He's one of our go-to players. But unfortunately, it's been a while now since I can put my hand on my heart and say that he's really played well for Arsenal. He's had a couple of games where he's been okay, but tonight I've got to say he was below par, and we need him. You know, if you're going to beat the likes of PSG and teams like this, if you're going to win Champions Leagues, you need your captain, you need your number 10 to step up. And unfortunately, Odegaard just wasn't at it today, man. Didn't really make anything happen. Picking up the ball too deep. When he did get it, he wasn't progressing it forward or wasn't. I mean, in essence, your number 10, he's your playmaker. You want him to. It's a very difficult position in a team. I get that. You want from your number 10 somebody that's going to create, that's going to score, that's going to assist, that's going to impose himself on the game, be that guy that makes things happen. Didn't see any of that tonight from Martin Odegaard. Really disappointing. Even more so when we know that this guy's got it in him. I mean, a couple of seasons ago, he was ripping teams apart, scoring goals for fun, and looking really good. I don't know what's happened to him. I suspect it's a confidence thing. It's just not happening for him at the moment. Some of the fans I was talking to at Box Park tonight, they're really disappointed with him. Some are even saying, you know, maybe he should be dropped, stood down for a while, have the captaincy taken away from him. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think Mikel Arteta will do that. However, it was interesting to note that he did hook Odegaard after 85 minutes. Now, many people, myself included, will say that maybe he should have come off a lot earlier than that. But I think the fact that the manager's taking off the captain in the 85th minute of a big game like this tells you everything you really need to know about Martin Odegaard tonight. He was nowhere near what we would want from him. And it's starting to become a real concern now. Because like I said, I couldn't really tell you the last time that Martin Odegaard has had the kind of impact that we want and expect to see from him, especially in big games. He was pretty missing tonight, which is a shame. Up front, didn't really see much of our front three, got to be honest. Wasn't a great game for Martinelli. Didn't get much change out of Hakimi. Tried, put it past a couple of the defenders and use his pace. That didn't really work out too well. And the problem I've noticed with Martinelli is if he can't get past you with his pace, it doesn't appear to have many tricks up his sleeve. He's going to have to try and make those adjustments because sometimes it can be a little bit too easy to play against, as he was tonight. And when you think as well that Hakimi got booked fairly early in the game, I'd have expected Martinelli to be a bit more aggressive and go at him a bit more and get more change out of him, but he wasn't able to. Leandro Trossard in that false nine didn't really work out. I mean, he huffed and puffed, he flitted in and out, but did he really impose himself in the game? Did he really have an impact? Not really. I mean, I can see why the manager went for him in that position because he's been playing that position in the Premier League for a few games now and he's done well. He scored goals and looked quite sharp. But tonight, wasn't happening for him. Bukayo Saka had a few good moments, but again, wasn't really able to impose himself on the game. It was a frustrating night for him because PSG did their homework on Saka. They double-teamed him quite a lot. You could see Saka was getting frustrated with it, which actually led to him getting booked in the game. So it wasn't one of his better nights either. It wasn't a great night for Arsenal. And I've got to say, the manager, listen, when we beat Real Madrid, I was one amongst many that gave the manager his flowers. We thought he coached the team brilliantly that night. We thought he out-coached Ancelotti, and we all said so. We sang his praises. We were waxing lyrical. We gave him his flowers. So it's only right we got to be fair tonight. I think he dropped the ball tonight. Um, Not so much with the team. I didn't have any issues with the team. In fact, the team that he played tonight, I predicted he would play that team. So I'm not trying to be wise after the event. I'm not trying to be that Monday morning quarterback saying, oh, he got the team wrong. I thought that the team he put out tonight was capable of doing the job, or if not doing the job, doing a lot better than they did tonight. So I'm not going to blame him for that. Where I do have an issue with the manager, though, is that where was the changes? Like, you know what I mean? It was obvious that things weren't working as early as the first half. Okay, like I said, we did improve towards the latter half of the first half, but then the second half, it kind of, you know what I mean, petered out. And we needed some energy, we needed some input. And the manager just let things drift. And it was disappointing. I mean, you got Wanyeri on the bench, young Ethan Wanyeri, an exciting talent. For me, the most exciting talent in the Premier League. He's come on in previous games and he's turned games around. You got him there, use him. You know what I mean? Things weren't working tonight. Your plan A wasn't working. Where was your plan B, Mikel Arteta? You didn't seem to have one, or if you did, you didn't, implement it or try to implement it. I mean, the manager's first substitution was in the 85th minute in a game that, we were behind the eight ball. Your first substitution in the 85th minute, and it was a defensive substitution. Ben White for Timber, who I don't know if he's carrying a knock or what, but that surprised the hell out of me. I think, we need a goal. And you're bringing on a defender. He brings on Ethan Wanyeri in the 89th minute, which means that young Ethan Wanyeri's got like 5-6 minutes to try and turn the game around. Come on, man. You know what I mean? That's not going to happen, is it? And so, yeah, it was disappointing that the manager didn't change the tactics. He didn't change the formation. He just let things drift. And the game meandered out to a 1-0 defeat at home to PSG. And I've got to be honest, we can call ourselves fortunate that it was only 1-0 because I think PSG had a number of chances that on another night those would have went in. They hit the post, they hit the bar, they looked threatening. A number of other times Ryan made a couple of really good saves. So maybe we should just take the 1-0 and chill because it could have been way worse. So yeah, it was a disappointing night, man. I went into this game full of expectation. Don't get me wrong, I knew that PSG would be a difficult task. I'd said so before the game. I knew they would be good, and they were good. And they won pretty much at a canter, if I'm being honest, man. We didn't really lay too many gloves on them. So, yeah, there's a lot to think about before the second leg next week. That being said, though, I mean, listen, we weren't very good tonight, and we were only defeated 1-0, which does give me some form of optimism because, at the end of the day, it's only a 1-0 deficit. We could go to PSG next week and do what they did to us and get an early goal. So you never know. Still all to play for. We're not out yet. It is a disappointing night, but it's not over. I'm sure the players and the manager will look back on that performance, they'll reflect and know that they could have done a lot better. And I think they will do better next week. But we are up against it. It will be an uphill battle. But it's not an insurmountable one. I still think that we've got the quality in the team. And I think if we get our tactics right and do our best to implement those tactics, I am reasonably confident that we can get a result. Let's hope we do because we need this Champions League badly. Title challenge, for want of a better word, has not been very good this season. We don't want to go out of this competition limply. I mean, we haven't done well in the other cup competitions, the FA Cup and the League Cup. We haven't done that well in the league. Okay, it looks like we're going to finish second, but really and truly, our title challenge has been, fairly mediocre, if I'm being absolutely honest with you. Far too many draws. What we don't want is a draw next week. We want to go there and do our best to beat PSG. They're not unbeatable. They were beaten at home by Nice last weekend in a game that, they had the strongest team out. And they were trying to win because apparently they were going for some kind of invincible record over there in France. It was a disappointing result for them. So they can be touched. We saw Villa put 3 goals past them. Listen, it's not an insurmountable challenge, but it will be a difficult one. We roll on to next week with a degree of optimism. But what I would say is we're going to have to play a lot better than we did tonight. But anyway, that's all from me. Thank you so much for watching. Really appreciate it. Thanks for your support. If you're new to the channel, please like, share, and subscribe. And I'll catch you on the next one. Take care.